I've been back for almost 2 weeks now. Got my bike cleaned up. Grimace is looking good. Still not 100%, but you know, 6,000 plus miles of wear and tear on the highway going cross country and back is a bit. So I'll get her there. So not worried. I wanted to talk a little bit about the journey and maybe a little bit lessons learned. So Nails and I, we took off early morning, getting a jump start on that first day, which is so wonderful we did because the weather was supposed to be good. We didn't plan for, nor could we even begin to estimate the amount of traffic between Ocean City and Washington, D.C. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Lessons learned, I was wearing cargo shorts and I burned all the hair off both legs. The engine was so hot. I knew it was a little uncomfortable and I kept moving my legs around. I actually ended up with burn marks on the back of my calves. It lasted about 2 weeks till those burn marks went away, and I had no hair on my legs from my mid-thigh down. So, and it's starting to grow back. So, okay. Let's see. Weather. We couldn't predict the weather. We tried to plan for it. We were definitely prepared for it. We had our rain gear. We had provisions to make it not so bad if we had severe rain. First couple nights we did a hotel. No complaints. I mean, that was always the backup plan. Then from there on, we were going to be hitting campsites or off-grid, meaning no campsites, just find a field, set up tent, and enjoy ourselves there. Which goes into some lessons learned. I prepared to be off-grid. The entire trip, we did not go off-grid, not one time. So I had cooking utensils, cooking gear, the stove, the fuel. I had a chair, I had a table. This takes up room. It takes up weight on the bike, more so room than the weight. I could have bought myself some extra storage space had I not brought that extra gear. Again, not planning to be off-grid, just trying to be prepared. So it's a juggle. Do you want to plan not to do something, and when you have to do it, you're not prepared? How bad would it have been if we were off-grid and I didn't have a table, I didn't have a chair, we didn't have cooking stuff? You know what? In hindsight, it wouldn't have been bad. We could always run to a gas station, someplace like that, grab a sandwich from a Subway or another sandwich shop, and a small cooler. We did that our first camping night. We grabbed a little styrofoam cooler from a mom and pop convenience store, and it worked out well. So do I need the chair and the table? I think on my next trip, if I'm not planning, and I'm saying planning, not a contingency plan, but if I'm not planning, this is going to be a completely off the grid kind of trip, or a majority part of it off the grid, I will not bring the table, I will not bring the chair, even though they compact, you know, down quite in size. It's just extra space I could have used to move the gear that I had in my trunk internal, which was an extra pair of tennis shoes. Lessons learned. Don't need an extra pair of tennis shoes. If your shoes get wet, get some newspapers, wad them up, throw them in there. The newspapers suck the water out. We were staying at campgrounds. They got little hand dryers, so between the newspaper and the hand dryers, I could have kept my shoes extremely dry. Fortunately, even with all the rain, because the way the bike's designed, keeping my feet on the floorboards of the bike, my shoes really never even got wet. My socks never got wet. So I didn't need the extra pair of tennis shoes. Is it nice knowing you have them? Yeah. Do you need them? No. So again, space saving. Do you need them? The Yeti lunchbox cooler, lessons learned. Don't need it. Anywhere I want to stop, you know, they have little coolers. Could I run into a situation where, boy, it'd be really nice to have it? Sure, absolutely. Do I need it to take up space? No. So again, everything I had on the external pack could have been brought into the bike. make it a little cleaner. And I like that. I like the streamline effect. I don't like external stuff. So if I stop somewhere, do I need to disconnect the backpack that's on the trunk and sling it over my shoulder and go where I need to go? Or can I just not have to worry about it because everything's internal, everything's locked? And then we pressed on, and what we learned between Nails and I, we have really, really different riding styles. I prefer to ride and ride hard, meaning I stop for gas and I don't stop unless I absolutely positively have to pee, and I'm an old guy so that does happen, but I don't stop until I need gas. And I like to do about 10 miles over the speed limit, and that way if something catches my eye, ooh, something shiny, squirrel, I have time. I build that time into my day to stop and do those out of the way type things, to enjoy the trip. But when I'm riding, I want to ride. Nails, he doesn't like to go more than 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Cool, nothing wrong with that. That's his riding style. I have my riding style. He likes to stop about every hour to an hour and a half for 10, 15 minutes to stretch his legs. Again, rock on, his riding style. But the lessons learned here is I planned the trip based on my riding style. So what we found riding Brad's riding style is that we kept falling farther and farther behind the timeline. And by the time we got to Nevada, Lake Tahoe, we were already 2.5 days, minimum 2.5 days behind schedule. And I did some little math going through, all right, riding down from San Francisco to Santa Monica and then taking Route 66 back to Chicago and then home, I was going to be 5 days late getting home. I planned the trip for minimum, it was going to be 21 days, maximum 25 days, and what I seen was it was going to take a little over 30 days to do the whole trip. Well, I'm not completely retired. Nails is, and that could be driving some of the differences in our riding style also. So he would have been fine. I can't be late for work. Now, Nails and I talked about it. If we ran into a situation, what do we do? If we're not going to make it back in time for me to go to work, well, we knew we would rent a U-Haul, load the bikes up, and we'd just press home from there. We really didn't want to do that, and I seen that if we continued on with the trip, that was, it just couldn't do it. So we were going to have to stop halfway through or really rush through Route 66. And that's where I wanted to spend the most time, stopping to see the sights and the little weird towns, and have fun with it. So I wanted to slow my pace once I got down to Route 66. But because the pace was slower going through Highway 50, I really wasn't going to have that luxury. So either press on and press hard through Route 66 and not get the experience that I wanted to get, or terminate, come home, reset, and plan the trip for another time. So that's what I wanted to do, and Nails gives me the thumbs up, like, okay, we're terminating. The last 40, 50 miles of Highway 50 was closed due to the California fires, which sucked, but it just gave us a good reason to say, okay, this is it. The plan wasn't working with our riding style. So I told Nails, hey, we rode west, your style. We're riding east, my style. Nails didn't want to do that, so he kept up with me. I don't know, for about an hour or so, which was great. I thought, okay, good. We're going to be pressing home. We're going to just do this because I don't want to be burning up vacation time just trying to make my way home. I just want to make best time home. So I told him I was going to probably stop over in Salt Lake City, which is about 500 miles from Lake Tahoe, where we stayed with a buddy, a shipmate of mine, Fritz, who's moving to the East Coast, which is very cool. So I told him, hey man, send me a text message when you get to Salt Lake City. I'll tell you where I'm at, because we're just planning on doing hotels going back home, just pressing home. And I got there so early because I got with this group of vehicles and we were doing about 100, 110, just cruising. So I get to Salt Lake City so early, I'm like, oh, I can't stop this early in the day. I mean, it was like around noon, 1 o'clock. So I pressed on. So I did another couple hundred miles, ended up in Rock Springs, Wyoming. And to give you a difference of, or some comparison of our riding styles, it was about 9 o'clock. I get a text message from Nails saying, hey, I just arrived in Salt Lake City, where you at? And I text back, I'm in Rock Springs, Wyoming, which was another 3.5, 4 hours. And so he gets there at 9 o'clock. I got to the hotel in Rock Springs at 6, was checked in and up into my room by 6:30, and I'm going to bed at 9. I'm just tuckered out, so I'm crashing out. And that's when he's texting me. He's just arriving in Salt Lake City. So that's a pretty significant difference in riding style. And because the plan was developed, I developed the plan around my riding style. The plan wasn't going to work because we weren't riding the way it was planned. So, so Brad cruised back. He went up to Illinois, visited some family and friends up there. I dropped down to Kansas City, got to hang out with my nephew, his beautiful wife, his wonderful kids, and I was so exhausted because I did a 1,000-mile run. Well, it's 932, almost an iron butt, which is 1,000 miles. So I hung out there for a couple days, cruising home. From there, I went from I-70 to 64, and I-64 will take you right into Hampton Road, just about 5 miles from the house here, 6 miles. So it was a good easy shot, no navigation. But rain was so hard when that first day leaving Kansas City after I got through St. Louis, I had to stop. And lo and behold, I posted up on Facebook like, I'm stopping, rain's too much. Shipmate of mine sent me a message back saying, hey, I live a mile from where you're at in the hotel. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to go see him right then, but I was so tired. I was like, I need to get some sleep. So I got up in the morning, had breakfast with him. Sean, it was great seeing you in the morning, man. And I definitely want to make another trip back just to hang out and have a cigar with you and a beer. So from there, that's Cordon, Indiana. Cruising back, another shipmate of mine, good friend, one of my best friends, building his own house, says, hey man, you're going to be cruising right by me. Why don't you stop in, hunker down for the night, and give yourself a break? And this was the northwestern side of Virginia, and I did that, which saved me because I showed up there, I think around 5:30, 6 o'clock. If I would have pressed home, I wouldn't have gotten home till 11. It's one of my best practices is not to ride at night. It's a lot more dangerous. The risk factor goes up. I know a lot of people are like, okay, why can't you ride at night? I can. Bike's bright. I got good lights. I got LEDs. However, it's my personal choice, my riding style. I don't like to ride at night because the risk of having an issue goes up exponentially. So I just try to minimize the risk. Riding a bike is dangerous enough. You know, I do ride like I'm invisible and everybody's trying to kill me. And so far I've been very fortunate that I haven't had issues. If you're reviewing some of the videos, other videos from Highway 50 trip, there's one where I almost T-boned a van. The guy ran a stop sign, panicked, and then stopped dead in my lane. And I had fractions of a second to maneuver, and all my training kicked back in because I do attend a motorcycle safety course every 3 to 5 years, and they critique and they give you some good hints and hey, here's what we see you doing, and they give you some ideas of bad habits that you've adapted to so you can fix yourself. Continuous improvement. So all that training kicked in. You know, it's okay, look for my way out. Boom, he stopped in front of me. If he would have kept going, it wouldn't have been so bad. So you know, both brakes, ABS, love ABS. Matter of fact, I'd recommend never buying a bike without ABS. So I was able to lock it down, maneuver around as I'm going around the rear of the van. There's some gravel there, and I'm thinking, okay, I have gravel. If I go a little bit further to the right, I have grass. I can dump the bike there. I think I'd rather do the grass than the gravel. And all this is going on while I'm maneuvering the bike. And as I started going around the back side of the van, I realized I would have had enough pavement to stay on the road. So that's what I did. I stayed on the road and went down about another quarter miles, and had to actually stop, go off the road, you know, on the side, and get off the bike. It shook me up pretty bad. Anyways, and that was all from a wrong turn. Gotta love it when you get lost on a road trip. So, anyways, made it home and had some lessons learned. Planning my next trip. I don't know for sure. I kind of like the idea of riding to Chicago and then doing Route 66 to Santa Monica up to Seattle, and doing the northern run coming back through Sturgis. Not during Sturgis. I don't like the big crowds. And then getting over, paying homage to Lambeau Field, Go Pack Go, and then from there taking the SS Badger across Lake Michigan. Definitely stopping in Michigan to see grandson and my mother, and then from there cruising home. So that'll be about a 30-day trip also. I might not do it next year, but definitely the year after I'm going to go ahead and embark that one. And I'll probably do that one at the beginning of summer. Brad Nails isn't keen on doing another long distance trip like that, and I get it. It's not for everybody. It was our first one, my first one, his first one. It was a good time, but again, not everybody's cup of tea. So that one I'll do solo. I'll definitely open it up to buddies that ride, but it's going to go in. We're going to go into the trip with I planned the trip based on my riding style, and I'm going to ride my ride. Please keep up, but if you can't, I totally get it, you know, because they don't want to compromise themselves and make themselves unsafe. Anyways, it was a good trip. Had a lot of fun. Got to meet some very interesting people, and can't wait to do it again. All right, take care.